Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name's Serena. I'm 22 years old. I just moved to the Boston area with some of my friends from college, and I'm a new graduate registered nurse. And today I'm going to be making a video on nursing school tips and advice. I just graduated in May, therefore I was very recently in school, and I have plenty of pieces of advice still fresh in my memory that I'd love to share with you guys. So let's get into the video. Okay, so my first tip is to be organized. And some of these tips you're going to be like, Serena, we know that, like, that's a given. However, I hope that I can give you guys new ideas on maybe ways to be organized, or I can give you guys some tips that you've never heard of that you'll find helpful. So, okay, back to the first tip, staying organized. How I stayed organized in nursing school, probably the thing that I used the most was my sticky note function on my MacBook. So on the Mac you can do different color sticky notes and put them on the side of your home screen. So being on my computer a lot, I found it really helpful to have all of my assignments and things that I needed to complete right on my home screen, because I looked at it probably 20 times a day. So I would do one color sticky note for every single class that I had, and that's how I kept it organized in my mind. And then on top of that, I had a planner every single year. I'm sure most of you guys have planners because they're incredibly helpful no matter what. And I would just get like a $10, $15 planner from Amazon. And I would always make sure that my planners have little mini calendars in them. As you can see, I've used this one up a lot. And again, I'd color code my classes and all the assignments that I had to do for each class, write everything in my planner. It's very nice because on the syllabus that we would get from each class would pretty much give us a layout of everything that was going to be due for that semester. So I would go ahead and fill things in advance as I could, in as much advance as I could. I don't know if that makes sense. Ahead of time. I would just fill things in ahead of time so that I would make sure to stay on top of everything. So that was very helpful. And then my last tip for staying organized. So my planners always had like little pockets in the front, and I'm a huge list person. So I would keep these stack of large sticky notes in my planner, and I would do weekly lists of things that I had to complete. So right here I have like a to-do list for things that I had to complete this week, and I just love having a tangible list of things I need to do, so that when I finish something I can just scribble it out, and it's just a really satisfying feeling. So yes, so all of those things are very helpful. Moving on to the next tip, something that is huge for your well-being is just getting enough rest. So trying to establish a consistent sleep schedule was huge for me, as far as just being able to focus during the day and to be able to study and actually retain information, because I feel like nursing isn't really as much like the assignments and like handwritten work, it's more studying. So in order to retain everything that you're reading and all the videos you're watching and the lecture content that you're taking in, it's so important that you have enough sleep so that you can actually focus. Because on those days that I didn't get enough sleep, I would be sitting in class like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, all I want to do is go take a nap right now. So then obviously those days you just retain way less than if you were to get maybe a solid 7 or 8 hours of sleep. So for me, I would try to be consistent in going to bed within like an hour time frame, the same hour time frame every night. So it was usually like 9:30 to 10:30, and then I would try to wake up the same time every single day, even if I had an 8 a.m. class one day and then the next day I didn't have class until maybe 10:15. I would still try to wake up at maybe, let's say I woke up at 7:15 every day. Then the day that I would have a 10:15 class, I'd maybe wake up between 7:15 and 7:45 to keep myself consistent, so that I'd be getting tired around the same time at night and just overall be getting much better sleep. So that is huge. And it can be hard while you're trying to balance a social life in college, so just do your best. A third tip that I have for you guys is a study buddy. So I was very lucky, and through college, one of my best friends, actually a couple of my best friends, were nursing majors, because you just learn to be so close with all the nursing majors, because as you get older and you become a upperclassman in college, all your classes are pretty much with nursing majors, so you really don't see anybody else. So yeah, I was very lucky that I lived with a few nursing majors too. So we would typically have very similar schedules. So we would designate times of the day where we would meet up and study together, and just having someone to study with just keeps you accountable. Even if you guys are like, oh, we both have 30 minutes free before we're gonna go get dinner, and use that time together to just kind of like talk information through. I found that very helpful. Talking things out loud too, very helpful. I don't know if it's just me, but talking things out and explaining them to other people would help me register the content in my mind so much more than if I were to just read it out of a textbook. So yes, having a study buddy and people to hold you accountable is huge. Okay, so my next tip for you guys is to time block. So basically what I would do during my weeks is I would plan out my days, so that I would say, okay, from this time to this time I have work, from this time to this time I'm gonna study, and from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'm taking a break, and I am designating that time to do something fun, whether it's watching a TV show with my friends, making dinner with my friends, meeting up with someone, maybe if it was in the morning, like meeting up with somebody to go get coffee, and basically just designating time off for yourself is huge in finding that balance that I was talking about earlier. So it's very easy in school, when you have so much on your plate and so much to study for typically, to just let yourself get so overwhelmed that you just feel like you are overworking yourself, and you just push yourself to the point where you're not taking a break until you're forced to, because maybe it's mealtime or maybe it's time to go to bed. And it's so important to just time block an hour of the day every single day to just say, okay, during this part of the day, I'm gonna take a mental break, and I'm gonna do something that doesn't require any thought and that is fun with my friends. So time blocking in time off is huge. Make sure you study and do your work somewhere other than your room. So college dorms can be very small, and if you're sleeping in your room, you're watching TV in your room, you're eating in your room, and you're studying in your room, everything is just gonna blend together. So for me, I would be like, okay, I have to go to the library, and that's where I'm gonna study, because when you're in your room, you have people going in and out. It can be very distracting. For me, when I was in my room, when I was maybe a freshman and a sophomore, and I would study in my room, I would be so tempted to take like snack breaks all the time, because I just had like a tote of snacks available to me. So I would just like stop studying, and I'd be like, I'm gonna make a snack, and I wouldn't even be hungry. I'm just doing something to avoid studying and doing homework, things that I didn't necessarily want to be doing. So when you take yourself out of that environment and you put yourself in a library or in a coffee shop or just an outside environment, you're almost like forcing yourself to focus. So that's very helpful for sure. And okay, this is a big one actually. This is one of my last tips. Don't be discouraged if you don't like your clinicals. So for me, I currently work on a like medical surgical type floor. I thought that would be best for me starting off my nursing career, because it just gives you those foundational nursing skills that you need no matter what specialty you're going to. So for my medical surgical nursing rotation, I had it sophomore year, and I remember being like, oh my gosh, I do not like this. And it was one of my first clinical rotations too, and I was like, I do not like this. I remember calling my mom and being like, is this what being a nurse is like? I don't like clinical at all. Like, oh my gosh, if I don't like clinical, am I gonna like my job? And I was just like psyching myself out. And the truth of the matter is, clinical is so different from working as an actual nurse. So obviously I'm not working independently yet, I still have a preceptor, but still it is so different because when you're in a clinical group, you have one instructor. Typically you're given one patient for the day, and your one instructor has to divide her time evenly between all maybe 4, 5, 6 of you in the group. So there's a lot of waiting around, and when you're in nursing school, especially when you're newer in nursing school, you are usually given the very stable patients on the floor. So there's really nothing too eventful happening, and there's not really much you can do with your day besides take vital signs and, you know, take lots of vital signs and do your clinical packets, and it's just not a good representation of what your day looks like as a nurse, because you're typically very busy, you have multiple patients, different levels of acuity. So what I'm trying to say is I did not like my medical, surgical, clinical at all. Like, no part of me liked it, and it made me question, like, oh my goodness, am I gonna like my career? And now that I'm working on a like medical floor, I am very happily surprised at how much I like my job. Not because I thought that I picked the wrong profession or anything. Like, I'm very happy with the route that I took, but I was expecting to feel maybe not just love it too much because of the experience I had with my clinical, but going in and working on this floor as an RN is just so different. You're so much more hands-on, you have so much more patient interaction with so many more patients, and it is just so much more fast-paced, and I don't know, your days are just more eventful, and it's not like you're sitting around and you're filling out a clinical packet. So that's my example for you guys, because I just really had a nervous breakdown sophomore year, because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't like this at all. Like, am I gonna like my career? The answer is yes. Hopefully you are gonna like your career, and I can almost guarantee that you will. Don't base whether or not you think you're gonna like your career off of maybe one of the not so favorite clinical rotations that you've had. And they do definitely get better, in my opinion, when you get into PD and maternity, and then you get into your internship. That's the best, especially if you have a great preceptor, because you get more of an accurate representation of what your day looks like when you're actually a nurse, and it's definitely a really good experience. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have for you guys. I don't really know if this was a long video. I feel like I've been here for a while, but I hope you guys find this helpful, and I appreciate the video suggestion, Caitlin. And oh yeah, my last thing, drink your coffee. Whether or not you like coffee going into nursing school, it is going to be your liquid savior. So drink your coffee, and yeah, get a coffee machine, because it literally gets you through all your days, and just learn to love it now, because you're gonna drink coffee every single day when you're working. So yeah, that's all. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any more video suggestions, I would love to hear them. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.